everyone, welcome back to Policy Corner, podcast where we discuss everything policy. My name is Oyinda.
And I'm Chike, your co-host on Policy Corner. Welcome back to our podcast, and
So recently, the government came up, or should I say recently? Recently is the word to use now. Is it not recent?
Yes.
No matter if it was
it's recent. I know
it's still recent, but so let's go. Or should I say lately? No, recently the government came up with this new tax law. We all know that it came up last year, 2025, but it's still in the news. People are still talking about it. And a lot of Nigerians do not really understand what the policy entails. Me as a person, I've been looking at my account to see when they will actually deduct money that is coming in from my salary. So I think we need to actually explain to people what this policy is really all about.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rita. One thing I've observed regarding policy, tax, subsidy, anything really, is that it's usually the popular opinion of the policy and then the informed opinion of it. The people who are informed almost every time have an opinion that's different from general opinion. That's what I've noticed. Mm-hmm. I can cite several examples, but
you don't need to cite several examples because that's not your forte. So that's reason why, because myself and Chike, we don't understand this tax policy very well. That's reason why we had to search everywhere in Nigeria. Who can we call? We went to go and call someone that really knows our onions. My God, when you're talking about tax policy, anything that has to do with tax compliance, she's one of the top people you can mention in Nigeria, and her name is Mrs. Odunola Ewetola. Please, let's clap for her. She's here. So, okay, sorry, I missed your name, Mrs. Odunola. What do you understand by this tax policy, or what does it entail for me that I don't understand anything, or novice Nigerians? How do you explain it to them?
Okay, so this tax policy, right? Number one, it is actually fine. It has actually brought a change to the country as a whole, right? And then to explain it, it is actually not technical. So the simple way for us to look at it is just that as a citizen of a country, number one, you're expected to pay tax. And then it has not circulated well before now. Like, we just know that, it is just salary earners that are paying their taxes, which is payee. But now, with the introduction of this new tax policy, it has actually brought in so much awareness to everyone, both the formal and the informal sector, right? So that is one of the things that the tax policy has done. It has brought more awareness to every individual in the country.
That's a very fun question. It has brought more awareness, but okay, so we're paying more taxes, or we should pay more taxes. Is that a good thing? I'm just asking like an ordinary Nigerian, really. Is that a good thing for us? Or something we should be okay with?
Because I understand where Chike is coming from. I'm a trader. I work in Ilepo market. People come to collect money from me every day. So are you saying that Nigerians are not paying tax?
Okay, so let me start with what Chike mentioned, right? Just from his question, he said that, are we going to pay more taxes? Am I right?
Yeah.
So the simple answer is actually no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is for small businesses, right? So we have what we call small businesses, and we also have the set of people we call HNIs. So the HNIs are high net worth individuals. So the expectation in this new tax policy is that the low income earners, right, who own businesses and the likes, they will not pay more taxes, right? The only thing is just that the tax net has been widened for them to the point is just for them to come into the tax net. They necessarily don't need to pay more taxes. In fact, they are paying lower taxes. While for the high net worth individuals, and it's also funny that it is those high net worth individuals that are not screaming. People that are screaming are actually those that are not expected to pay more tax. Like, yes, you and I, those are the people screaming. While for the high net worth, they're just quiet. They are not saying anything, but they are actually the ones paying more taxes. Yeah, the band actually falls more to the HNIs.
Oh, so I think I see what you're saying, because I was reading a stat somewhere that said that currently, or at least before the new tax acts of last year, only about 60% of Nigerians, of Nigerians that are economically active, were on the tax bracket. So, for what you said now, that means the government is trying to bring in those people who ordinarily, prior to now, did not pay tax at all. So I understand your points. I also understand why they feel aggrieved by that, because they've been coasting for all this while the payee people have been bearing the brunt of taxing of taxation. Wow. Yeah, so yeah.
The truth about it is that even if you look at that 16%, I can assure you that 9% from that 60% falls even in people that work in the civil service.
Yeah.
Civil service,
yes,
federal
yes.
civil service, Lagos State, any civil service or any work that has to do with the government, they even pay their taxes more than the usual.
Because it is being deducted from source. So as long as it will be deducted from source, you don't have anywhere to run to. So for them to, if they actually had the privilege not to pay tax, they would run away. They won't pay the tax. But the fact that even employees in organizations, in companies, if they had the opportunity not to pay that tax, they will not pay the tax. But the fact that the responsibility is on the employer, so that is why most of them are actually paying the taxes.
Okay, so when you said employees in private organizations, now the truth about it is that if you do an audit into many private organizations, you will see that they actually deduct these taxes from salary earners, but most of it is not being remitted to the government.
Ooh.
Now, in that kind of situation now, most of the salary earners are being agitated that their money is being deducted, but they don't have like a tax ID, they don't have a tax identification number, they don't have anything. So now, where those kind of people, where do they fall into in this new tax policy? And
okay, that is actually very interesting, because I've been in that situation before, and a few days ago I was like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking of then, like my previous jobs? Then I just realized that they were paying taxes for just a set of people, particular set of people, and they were not paying tax for us, right? So I was now thinking about it that number one, it was actually my ignorance, because then fine, that was when I just finished school. I just started working. I think that was like my first or second job. So number one, it was ignorance on my side, because I didn't know that it was compulsory for my employer to actually pay that for me. So now,
despite the fact that they were deducting
it,
salary.
yes. So that's why I mentioned it at the beginning of this podcast, right? That number one, it is creating more awareness, because if you should look at it now, right, more employees are aware. Because fine, in my current job, you would know that people would come to my table, please, I need to confirm if my tax was paid for this particular month. Those things were not happening before too. So it had actually helped so many people, so many individuals awareness. So that is one. Just like I mentioned, I was ignorant then, but now so many people are aware of it. So I think it is actually a good thing for every individual.
Okay, so where do we want to now put freelancers, digital content creators, people that work remotely with organizations, and their organizations are probably not based in Nigeria and they just have to pay them? So where do those kind of people fall into in this new tax policy bracket? Because at a particular point, what we are hearing online is that they will just be entering into your account and be deducting the money like that. So please let's explain to Nigeria. You can use your bow. You can explain to Nigeria that nobody is entering into their account to take their money, and let people understand that this tax policy is not, nobody is entering into your account to take your money. So
hello Nigerians. Just like she mentioned, she said I can also speak Yoruba too, but then I don't want to embarrass myself. Okay, so the point is that no one is entering into your bank account to deduct your money to no one is actually going into your bank account. The point is that it is your civic responsibility to pay your taxes. So as long as you are doing the right thing. Funny how even though you are not doing the right thing, right, no one will still go into your bank account. But then you are giving the tax authority opportunity for them to come and tax audit you, because there's something we call tax audit. When you are declaring your income that, this is what I am earning, this is what I earned for the last 12 months, let's say 12 million. The point is, all these things are connected. Your NIN, your tax ID, your BVN, right? Fine. They can actually have access that, I know what is coming into your account. They can have an idea. But the point is that the government or the policy has not given them the power to say, okay, deduct this. No, nobody will do that. Government will not. In fact, if government should do that, you should sue them. They will not deduct anything from your account. So the only thing is just that as citizens, we are also supposed to be faithful, because when they are seeing some unusual inflow in your bank statements, when they are seeing inflows like 80 million, 100 million, 500 million coming in, going out, different transactions, and at the end of the day, you are declaring that your income is 2 million naira. So how do you balance that too? So it will call for a tax audit. There's something we call tax audit. They would say, okay, come and justify what you have declared in your income. This came into your account, this came into your account. Please come and justify. So if you are able to justify it with third-party evidence, then you are fine. But if you are unable to justify it, then it calls for so many questions. You will be questioned, and then that is where there's problem and whatsoever.
So that's actually very interesting. I did not know that Nigeria now had, at least tax ombudsman now have the avenue of calling someone for tax audit. That was within a head.
They do now. Not forget when what's her name? Yeah, they were charging Lagos LRS was charging Yabo Ojo consistently, and then she had to scream out and say. So they told her, they invited her to come to their office. So I'm very sure that a lot of people think that this tax policy is going to increase the cost of living in Nigeria. Is there any correlation? Because things are extremely expensive now already, due to the reforms from the government. But now,
hello, please. And then if you should say things are expensive due to the reforms from the government, I would like you to say, okay, what's the number one thing that is expensive? What's the number two thing that is expensive? And what's the dollar rate and all these things right now? I should not. And if I'm even asking,
we all know
we all know what's up with, even before the policy. And dollar rate too. You said things are expensive. Dollar rate itself, as I yesterday, I was looking at it. It's way low right now. We know too now.
Yes, so
things is not low enough. But then Adibin is 192,000. Most people would say, it is because of the policy. But no, actually, it is not affecting it. It is not affecting. Things are actually going on. Even January, most people were smiling. Most employees were smiling that, okay, at least we got more.
I was not smiling. No, yes, no enter my account. It no enter. I was not smiling.
but there was actually a reduction in what you would have paid. What the taxes you paid in December and what you paid in January. There's actually a slight difference, because most of us we fall into the lower bracket actually.
Most of us do.
Most of us do.
Yeah.
We are not HNIs. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to put it out there, HNI in this context would mean people who earn about how much?
They're high net worth individuals.
I know.
Mean high net worth. We are talking about people that they earn a whole lot of money. People that they have at least ₦1 million in their accounts after tax. We are not talking about people that have 10,000 in their account.
Okay, well, I wouldn't really say that, right? I would say it is actually based on your salary, not really based on what you have maybe after getting your salary. or maybe after spending some amount of money, HNIs will look at it that, okay, what is your gross earning and what is your net take home, right? So I can actually say, oh, if your gross or something, if it's from maybe like 50 million, it should actually impact you. It should impact you as an individual. But then I think some middle income earners too, right? It would actually affect them slightly, because that is where it balances, right? That maybe from like 25 million, 25, 26, 27 million, there's a way that the tax band would actually affect you, to affect maybe like a 1% or 2% difference and the likes.
Okay.
So, but most of us we fall under
So if you
income
put it this
earners.
way, why is there so much uproar about it? Because I remember coming into January this year, which was January 1st when the law was put into place and all that. There was so much uproar on everywhere, TikTok, social media. Everybody had a mic and a camera saying, this is that, this is... But so why did all that happen if it's this simple, really?
Yeah, so honestly, people were really agitated, and looking at the fact that it's been a while that there was a major reform, there was a major policy, right? Because before now, we know we've been using the 1990 something policies,
that's the only,
like the old one.
That's the only,
right? That's what
thing.
we've been
Everything
using
after that time, even till now, everything after that time is just being reformed. They still section it. Oh, subsection this is from the 1999
from
Constitution.
1999. Even
the reforms are not being the way they do it. The reforms are just being highlighted. The fact that okay, reformed in year 2026, but it's still referred back to the 1999 Constitution.
Well, I wouldn't say that all of the new reforms right now were referred back to the 1999 Constitution or something like that. So that was actually the reason for the reform. Fine, there've been some few reforms before now, but those reforms were not as major as this particular one. Like, for instance, in 2019, we had Finance Act 2019, we had Finance Act 2020. If you remember, then we were paying 5%. VAT was 5%.
Yeah.
That was before now. So starting from that Finance Act 2019, we saw that it was changed from 5% to 7.5. Going forward again, we had Finance Act 2020, Finance Act 2021. And government saw that all these few and little changes happening is actually creating an impact. Well, I would say positive impact in government revenue. So why not sit down? Let's have a committee, a fiscal reform committee, sit down, and someone that is well knowledgeable about it, which is in the likes of Taiwo Yedele. We know about his years of expertise and the like. So let's have a committee, sit down, look at these laws. Let's repeal the ones that ought to be repealed. Let's consolidate the laws that needs to be consolidated, and then we can have a proper and actual document, right? Having all our policies in it, which is that of the new one we have right now, which is the Nigerian Tax Act Administration. So that's where we have everything consolidated in there.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Odunola. Your insights have been so helpful. Like now, I have a better understanding of the tax policy. And by your last statement now, what you were explaining, I think one of the reasons why a lot of people were coming up with explanations during when it came out was because nobody really understands anything that has to do with accounting, finance. It is that subsection of the board that is standard for some people. So when things come up like that, a lot of people want to give their opinions, but their opinions are not really what's needed at that particular point in time. Well, I just want to say thank you. But just give us some practical advice.
Okay, so to my fellow Nigerians, what I would like to say is that paying your taxes is not merely a legal obligation, right? It is actually your civic duty. So when you see it as this, just like in your home, when you see doing one or two things as your duty, as your obligation. You won't see it as something stressful. You won't see it as something, that's the word. You won't see it as something stressful. But the point when you are not seeing it as a civic responsibility, that's when you see it as a problem. That is when you see it the other way around. So let's see it as a civic duty. And then when we comply as citizens, we are strengthening our voices. That is when you will be able to talk. You will be able to question the government that, oh, I am paying my taxes, so why is this not right? So why is this not fine, right? So it is actually an opportunity to strengthen our voices as citizens. And my last word is that please, let's do the right thing. When it's doing the right thing is less expensive.
No, it's fine. Thank you very much, Ma. Well, you already said if you do the right thing. In Nigerian context, the right thing is very subjective. Well, thank you very much for listening to our podcast today. Policy Corner here, your go-to to any policy problem in Nigeria. Goodbye.
Sign out. Bye, y'all.